Welcome to your reset with Christiane Piano, where the purpose is to support you in releasing all that you are not, so the truth of who you really are can emerge. This is accomplished through working with the body-mind from an ontological perspective. We use various modalities to support you in supporting yourself exactly where you are, so that you may return to an experience of wholeness and ease, moment by moment. Deep reflection is one of the greatest tools through which to do this. To take a moment, to pause, assess, reflect, and literally and figuratively reset, come back to center, and move back into your one and precious life with increased clarity and purpose. Hello, this is Christiane Piano, and this week's episode is a reflection on regret, something we can all relate to in some shape or form, and I will proceed as gently and delicately as possible so that you can work to release regret from your body-mind. The literal meaning of the word regret is to feel sorrow or remorse for an act, fault, disappointment, etc. Synonyms for regret are grieve, sorrow, mourn, bemoan, bewail, lament, deplore. The antonym is rejoice. Regret is a complex, aversive emotion of disappointment or remorse or sadness about an action taken or not taken, or what we might anticipate we might feel if we take an action or do not take an action. The focus is on the belief that some event from the past could have been changed in order to produce a more desirable outcome. Sometimes it is serving as a moral compass, guiding us to better behavior, but most often it is rooted in our assumptions rather than facts. It's a feeling that arises from the belief that our present could have been better if we had made different decisions in the past. Now, when you think of regret, what do you think of? Is there something you are relating to in your life at the moment, or most recently in your past, which is producing an experience of regret? The dominant emotions in regret are shame, guilt, distress, and sadness. And when these emotions are repeatedly activated, they can produce a downcast mood. And your mood will impact your thinking, your felt experience of yourself and the world. To support you in identifying this for yourself, I will list 4 categories of regret, core categories developed by the best-selling New York Times author Daniel Pink. Foundation regrets. These are related to stability and responsibility. These are regrets that rock your need for some level of stability. Regrets include failure to be responsible, conscientious, prudent. boldness regrets. These concern missed opportunities. We are much more likely to regret the chances we didn't take than the chances we did, especially as we age. Foregone opportunities to launch a business, chase a true love, or perhaps see the world. Moral regrets. Regrettable ethical choices. These are decisions where we took the low road. Deceiving a spouse, cheating, swindling a business partner. Last but not least, connection regrets. Neglecting important relationships. Connection regrets arise when we neglect the people who establish our sense of wholeness, people who give our lives purpose. So perhaps take a moment, pause, and decide upon which one of these categories the regret you're experiencing falls into. Write it down or take a mental note. You see, this thinking is not only a thought in your mind, which will show up as something is that should not be, or something is not that should be. It is also felt in the body as stuckness or a knot. At the core is a knot. And this felt stuckness or knot in your body is the same stuckness or knot in your mind. It just shows up differently. And it not only impacts your perspective, but all of your operating systems within your body. There are 10 major systems, which include the skeletal, muscular, nervous, endocrine, cardiovascular, lymphatic, respiratory, digestive, urinary, and the reproductive system. Your body functions are the physiological or psychological functions of body systems. Therefore, working to release these knots in body and mind simultaneously is essential to your overall body-mind well-being and health. Hence the reason for creating an episode about regret. Now, when you are experiencing regret, it is an indicator that you are stuck in the past. Therefore, your experience in the present is being informed by the past. And the tricky thing about living from the past is that we often have a relationship to a particular event that is either of resignation or resistance. And whatever we resist persists. Therefore, it is highly supportive of oneself to get to the root of whatever regret you're experiencing, so that you can come back to living your life in the present moment, which in reality is all there is. Regret often stems from the inability to cope with something you did or didn't do. You might think you deserve the self-criticism and negativity, but that's simply not true. This will only create a spiral effect and produce nothing that is life-giving. Gaining clarity on the root of a perspective leads to profound healing and produces an experience of forgiving oneself and the opportunity to practice self-compassion. And when you practice this on yourself, this will then begin to ripple out into all your relationships in the world. We can use our past experiences as fertilizer for our own growth and self-development and education without beating ourselves up. Confucius stated, "Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in getting up every time we do." We all have a relationship to our past, and this relationship can either produce growth or self-deprecation, which is like a beating oneself down and leads to nothing productive nor healing. It is a self-destructive loop. In reality, the past can't be changed, forgotten, edited, or erased. It can only be accepted. To do this, you will need to work with your relationship to regret, create a shift, and allow for release in the body. Surrender and acceptance are learning opportunities. Fertility for your personal growth. And as always, we do not usually live what we understand. Therefore, gaining clarity on your rational relationship to regret in the mind is the first step. The second will be working with the knot located in the body to invite a release and then allow it to go. Emotions like regret, fault, guilt are like looking in the rear view mirror of your life. They may occasionally caution you, but will never show the way forward. Imaging studies reveal that feelings of regret show increased activity in the area of the brain called the medial orbital frontal cortex. The OFC is a prefrontal cortex region in the frontal lobes of the brain, which is involved in the cognitive process of decision-making. When you are in the loop of experience of regret and self-deprecating thoughts, your sympathetic nervous system is triggered into action. The fight or flight response actually turns off certain parts of your brain, the more nuanced, critical thinking, decision-making parts. This then creates a whole set of challenges in making clear decisions informed in the present moment, and will set off yet another loop of stress, which negatively affects physical health and throws off the balance of hormone and immune systems. Regret is not only unpleasant, it is unhealthy. Simply put, looking back goes against the principle of life, living and being alive in the present moment. Lao Tzu stated, "If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present." So, a powerful inquiry to support you in embodying this knowledge is to start with this very question. Where do I feel regret in my body? Feelings of regret can often lead to physical symptoms, such as muscle tension, sleep disturbances, changes in appetite, headaches, muscle pain, joint pain, and chronic stress. You see, our bodies are speaking to us all the time. The question is, are we listening? And listening to your body will require you to learn to distinguish the noise of the filters of the mind and tune into the frequency of body. Something like tuning into a new channel, where upon first attempts at listening, you may simply hear a lot of static. But with time, clearing out the speed trapped in the body, the noise of the world, and moving inward, and becoming aware of the noise within, you then hone and channel your awareness to the silence behind the noise that is always present. Resonating with the frequency of the body, it is always there. It is simply a matter of practice. And once you have tuned into the wisdom of the body, you will then experience a shift, which will lead to a gradual release and reset. And you will return to your life and simply have an ever-increased capacity to be with all as is in the present moment. The body is where the present moment is located, and the present moment is all there is. Creating the time and space on the daily to clean out the clutter will support you in living into the present moment from moment to moment. Sometimes we begin to work with knots in the body and may think it is a one-time thing, but that is not the case. You see, there are various layers of stuckness, and to get to the center of the knot will take time and consistency. But if you do a little bit each day, working with your knot, you would be amazed to see the impact over time. At around 33 BC, a Roman poet named Publius Ovidius Naso stated, "Dripping water hollows out stone, not through force, but through persistence." Regret can be a powerful tool for personal growth and decision-making, and getting to its root can not only be healing, but extremely liberating. Always remember that in reality, there is no right decision or wrong decision. There is just a decision, and when you make that decision, you set a whole process in motion. And from every decision you make, you will then live into that decision, learning and growing and developing. As you live into each moment, you can always adjust your course using your pencil and eraser. You are a sum total of all of your experiences, past and present. Who you are today is because of it all. Rejoice in that. Each day we get to live is simply a gift. I'll leave you with this quote by the Dalai Lama. We must each lead a way of life with self-awareness and compassion to do as much as we can. Then, whatever happens, we will have no regrets. If you are interested in working with me to support you in getting to the root of any experience that may be holding you back, please feel free to reach out to me. I do hope you enjoyed this episode and found it supportive in some shape or form. Feel free to share it with anyone you know to whom you think it would prove supportive. And please follow and like this podcast so that more people will gain access to it. The holiday season can be challenging to navigate. Join me for a special holiday session, Presents, December 1st, 5 to 7 p.m. Central European Standard Time. Sign up direct or reach out with questions. I hope to see you.